AskReddit by 6 feet down under. What is something debunked as propaganda that is still widely believed? That propaganda is necessarily misleading or false. Propaganda is simply a method of directional persuasion. Can it be false or misleading? Without question. But it can also simultaneously be factually unimpeachable and rhetorically suggestive. Catherine the Great dying from fucking a horse. Didn't know Mr. Hands was descended from royalty. Lie detector tests. They are easily rigged straight up false most of the time and were outlawed from being used in court as evidence back in the 70s. IDKY when YouTubers or shitty reality TV shows use them, many people treat their answers as factual. They aren't. Edit. Spelling. I loathe them. I also admittedly listen to too much true crime podcasting, and motherfucker does it get under my skin when a polygraph is used to throw shade at someone. They should not exist. There is no favorable way to even answer the question, will you take a polygraph? You say no and it's so. They have something to hide. But if you take it and fail it, well, it's obviously because you're the killer. It's inconclusive. Well, that's just as bad as failing because you didn't pass. You passed the polygraph. Well, of course you did. You're a psychopath, and they always pass because they don't get anxious telling lies. Or you pass it and that's when people say, well, those aren't even accurate. It's such bullshit. I'll never ever take one. And I never ever judge someone who also won't, either. That Napoleon was short. It was part British propaganda, part unit confusion. French inches were longer, part him being surrounded by huge bodyguards. Edit. Also him being called Little Corporal might have had a part in it. But it was an affectionate nickname given by his soldiers, not a reference to his height. That cracking your knuckles causes arthritis. Science nerd Donald Unger cracked the knuckles on his left hand only for 50 years, no arthritis. Suck it, Nana. Fucking legendary dedication right there. That plastics are easily recyclable, and that MSG is bad for you. MSG Aka makes shit good powder. The food pyramid. Compare the widely available food pyramid and the one published by Harvard. https://www.hsph.harvard.edu/nutrition/healthy-eating-pyramid/ The rampant tampering of Halloween candy. You mean I won't get free drugs in my candy? What the hell, man? Is it weird that I still believe that rumor we all spread in middle school that Marilyn Manson had two ribs removed so he could suck his own dick? How the hell did this rumor spread to my small town Polish playground in pre-internet times? It's not like they announced it on MTV. Butter helps a burn. Yeah, it'll still taste burnt. Total waste of butter. That MSG is bad for you. I don't even know what MSG is, to be honest. Edit. I appreciate everyone's answers. I now know what MSG is. OP asked about propaganda and everyone is dumping Snopes articles. I'd say the whole Iraq had a hand in 9/11 and also had weapons of mass destruction was recent large-scale propaganda that was debunked. If memory serves me right, something like 70% of people were convinced that Saddam Hussein and his regime had a direct hand in the 9/11 attacks. Post-war analysis and historians note that none of this was really true. Deleted. Carrots improve eyesight. Well, this blew up. So to address the comments I keep getting. The myth is carrots improving eyesight. Mainly that eating enough gave RAF pilots night vision. Not carrots being good for your eyes. Carrots contain multiple vitamins that are beneficial, but, barring a deficiency, they won't help you see better. Yeah, but have you ever seen a blind rabbit? The diamonds are rare and expensive to obtain. I read an article about how the diamond conglomerates restrict the amount of diamonds available on the market in order to inflate prices. The reality is there are vast reserves of diamonds just sitting in warehouses waiting to be unloaded on the market when the prices are guaranteed to bring in a massive profit. What a bunch of bunk the diamond industry has sold us with the rarity lie. That drug dealers are putting drugs in trick-or-treat candy. I misread propaganda as horseshit, sorry about that. Remember how Dare made it seem like drug dealers just gave out free samples? What a bust. Edit, how many edgy bros need to proclaim how great their dealers are? That injury attorneys are bad. In reality, without injury attorneys, corporations would go around doing whatever they wanted with no incentive to make consumers safer because they would have no consequences. Insurance companies would have no reason to actually pay out claims. Personal injury is a necessary and noble profession that truly helps the little guy stand up to big pharma, the government, big insurance and big corporations. I hate how stereotypes about lawyers being sleazy and helping bad people get away with stuff is so ingrained in society. Even knowing the truth, my first thought about anything to do with lawyers is a negative one. I have to mentally stop and correct myself. That the McDonald's hot coffee lady was an unreasonable asshole. Edit. I've now muted because holy shit, if you're the kind of person who can go read what actually happened and still decide to side with giant multinational corporation, which has also lied about a whole host of other things including the monopoly shit and also feeding us pink slime, over the little old lady that they melted, then you don't have the IQ or the empathy for me to want to interact with you. My god. I hope the next time each of you does something moderately dumb, like spilling your drink, you're met with excruciating, life-altering negative consequences, since you'll wanna keep trying to blame her. That poor lady FR. She was just trying to pay her medical bills. She was covered in third burns and didn't initially want to sue. That swimming within 30 minutes of eating will cause cramps. If anyone is curious, we do want people to stay out of the pool right after they eat, because a lot of people are doing way more exercise than they're used to. That's what causes the vomiting and I have to clean that shit up. That eating fat makes you fat or is bad for you. I swear the entire food industry is run by fucking demons. Every single facet of it, whether it's the literal scum of the earth running companies like Nestle or just disingenuous health experts spouting lies. I'm at a point where I just trust physics. Burn more energy than you put into you if you wanna lose weight. Yes, I know it's more complicated than that, but I just don't trust anyone anymore claiming to know these things. Propaganda probably isn't the correct term, but the idea that sugar makes kids go crazy came from one study that has been disproved a few hundred times. The placebo effect though, that shit is real. Yes, exactly. Sugar high has been debunked. It's impossible trying to convince parents of this. That vaccines causes autism. Fuck Andrew Wakefield, he should have been jailed for his fraudulent study. Yup. Now we gotta listen to all the idiots that parade this nonsense and their kids are now at risk. Sorts comments by controversial. That a majority of people imprisoned in the US are violent offenders. It doesn't even constitute 10%. You need a big diamond to propose. The diamonds are valuable. You swallow 8 spiders a year. You will go blind from sitting too close to the TV. It takes 7 years to digest gum. Alligators live in the sewers of Nick. Edit. I know these are urban legends, but I couldn't think of any actual propaganda that wasn't already mentioned. If you look through the other comments you can have a proper propaganda. They told us that alligators live in the sewers so we don't think about trying to join the advanced civilization of mole people down there. Your carbon footprint. BP campaigned to popularize the idea of your personal carbon footprint to get people's attention off the oil industry's contributions to climate change and focus on their own. These companies are destroying the world, but many are still too focused on what individuals should do compared to the larger issue. Edit. It's still important to not be defeatist and do what you can as an individual, but solving climate change is not as simple as using paper straws, as some companies would want you to believe. Greater systemic changes need to happen to affect climate change in a meaningful way. Stop wrapping products in blister pack, and putting that in a box with styrofoam padding, and putting that in another box with more padding. Not only is it bad for the environment, but you're increasing your shipping costs. That penis inspection days at school were mandatory and you get expelled if you didn't go. Ayo? The fucking litter boxes in school bathrooms. The what? That milk is necessary for bone health. You do need calcium to keep your bones from becoming weak and brittle, but calcium from milk is actually poorly absorbed by the digestive system, so you're just shitting most of it out, especially if you're lactose intolerant lol. Broccoli, leafy green vegetables, figs, beans, and almonds are much better sources of calcium as well as other essential nutrients. Eating calcium straight up is pretty metal. That nobody wants to work reminds me of that viral FB post where news articles about nobody wants to work have been cropping up since the 1800s. That video games cause violence. It's not the games. It's lag. MSG. That black cats are evil or bad luck. Even to this day, they are the last to be adopted at shelters. And at this time of year, they are especially in danger of being hurt or killed or sacrificed. My black cat died weekend after last after spending his entire life of 18.5 years with me. I'm still broken up over him being gone, but thought it might make you happy to hear about a black cat that was so loved and so cared for that he lived to be an old man. That the Holocaust was a hoax. There are tons of pictures and video taken by us soldiers who liberated camps that disprove this quite easily. That whole alpha male hierarchy thing, both in wolves and in people. I don't know if that counts as propaganda, but there are certainly a lot of influencers that make their livelihoods propagating that notion to adolescent boys. The guy that did the study did it on captive wolves and threw it out and announced it when he studied wild wolves, and he is eternally embarrassed. Tried to stop it spreading for ages lol. Robert Schenkel is the guy, and it turns out that in the wild the alpha male and female are just the parents lol.